Long now has mankind looked up to the skies and wondered if we are alone in this universe. Many miraculous things have been spotted all over the world, reported by our militaries, and sparked great debates amongst ourselves. I am here to tell you that, ladies and gentlemen, people of Earth, brothers and sisters of all races, all countries, that we are not alone. We have never been alone. That some higher power has sought to spread the gift of life throughout the universe and beyond all comprehension. It is in these times we must learn to love one another. We must not share hate, but joy. We must not inhibit, but we must grow. These beings are our friends. They are our family. They want to help us become better, to see the true potential of mankind. And for maybe one day, we will join them in their voyage to help other beings from other star systems. As shocking as this news may be, it is nothing new. Our governments of the world have known for quite some time that we are not alone in this universe, and we have had contact for many of years, slowly preparing the American public and the publics of the world for such a revelation. We are not alone, and we are about to embark on the greatest journey mankind has ever experienced. Ladies and gentlemen, we have contact. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for contact on this Memorial Day weekend. I do hope everybody is having a fun and safe weekend this week because, quite frankly, it's just been crazy. But we're back for an episode of Contact, and this is the topic I think we needed to discuss. But before we do get into that, I do want to give a shout out to Through the Lens. We did just get out of an interview with them. It was not long enough. We probably could have gotten away with canceling tonight, but you go check them out. They're awesome guys. You know, we post where you should. I started that to come out today.
Are you all tongue twisted again? Please, guys, go and
it does not take much.
Through the Lens with Brian and Lex. You will find them on Parapost, you will find them on YouTube, and you will find them on Facebook. But please go to Parapost and give them a big subscribe. Let's get them to 2,000 subscribers on Parapost.
Oh yes.
So, who do we all have in the chat tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Who are the wonderful people that's joining us? We've got 11 people watching. My goodness.
Oh, we have Paranormal World Investigators. We have Beth. Look, you're seeing us live again.
We're live!
And we have this R baller. Apparently his name is Brad. I did not know that. But hello.
Hello.
Everyone
Brad.
is welcome. And oh, look, there's Lex.
Look, there's Lex, everybody. That's Lex. There you go. If you're wanting an autograph from him, there's the man there. Visit his channel. Brilliant channel. Yeah. Give him a subscribe.
Yeah. So a brilliant show. And I wish I watched it more.
Who else do we have in here, Dakota? Do we have anybody else? I think we have got Dobby's sock.
Is Dobby in here? Oh, I did see Dobby. There she is.
Dobby's there.
It looks like we have some lurkers in the background, but oh, there's Brian.
There's Brian.
He feels left out. He feels left out.
We have to put him there. I must admit, that's a handsome photo he's got himself there. You know, guys, please go to Brian Gilaverty, give him a subscribe, go to Parapost Network. Let's make Parapost better than Facebook, because let's face it, Facebook is rubbish, right? You're better going to Brian's Parapost. Much better. There you go, Brian.
You call that a handsome photo? It looks like a mugshot.
It was him, Brian. He said that. You can take him up in that. Raymond G. News. What's that? News some or something there. Welcome. Yeah.
It does.
There you go.
It either looks like a mugshot or you should be wearing a pinstripe suit with a fedora and a Tommy gun. Oh no, I said gun. We're gonna get banned. Oh well. We piss off everybody else anyway.
You don't want Lex doing a reveal video in your day. And that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's such a shame, but unfortunately, with the
Do you want-
number of people who enjoy drama these days, our numbers go up every time people try to do those videos.
Do you want to tell everybody the exciting news about the press release?
Oh, yes. Was this the one you were trying to hint towards Brian when we were in the interview?
I would never let away any secrets.
Oh, crap. Anyway.
Wait with
All right. Bald and Bonkers has now been officially recognized on CBS, NBC, Fox News. I think CNN might be in that mix, but maybe not. We were recently put out our very first press release to try to get us a little bit more attention to our documentary, We Are Light. And yes, despite what you people think that every other thing we're dealing with is demons, yes, that's what we're calling the film because it sounds cool.
Yes. You do get some strange people. You do get some strange people. Every day I like to look at the comments on the Bald and Bonkers network and dear. I'm just going to say it, guys. Everything to do with space is not to do with demons and demonic worship. But there you go. That's everybody to their own, you know.
But there's because we are hitting at about 17,000 views subscribers across all 50 plus channels with the TV network. We're gonna get a lot of hate.
But man, that's nearly 170,000 viewers we have now.
Across YouTube. All of our channels. So
yes. Big things are afoot, ladies and gentlemen. So Dakota, tonight, where is the show going? What are we talking about?
Well, I got to thinking, there is a lot we have discussed when it comes to the UFO phenomenon. It does seem to be our main shtick nowadays.
It is.
But naturally, it is a topic. We welcome skepticism because it is big out there. But little do a lot of people realize there may actually be some verified scientific studies that back what these abductees have been saying for all these years.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. You think about how some of these people that have been treated, they've went, saucer come down, took me away, didn't, and even though they had burns and radiation poisoning, the government and the health system basically told them this was all your imagination.
Well, even Luis Elizondo, he recently came out in one of his statements admitting that a lot of these pilots who have actually chased these things ended up with severe radiation burns. Thankfully, it sounds like the severity of them were like really nasty sunburns, but nevertheless, if you're chasing something in the sky that's supposed to not exist, how are you getting burned?
Well, they might just blame it in swamp gas. I've noticed that the US military are awful bad for that. Everything revolves around swamp gas.
Have you ever been around a bunch of guys out of basic training? They get a lot of swamp gas.
Yes.
And blame that on their chefs.
Yes. So Dakota, let's hear the evidence. Let's see the stuff. What amazing things do you have?
All right. Our good friend Lex, he did ask us a very good question is, what do we feel as being one of the better pieces of equipment out there when it comes to any sort of investigation, where it's cryptids, paranormal, UFOs, whatever? Naturally, the best thing that covers things across the full board is a camera.
Yeah.
Because cameras by themselves, I should say, don't lie. Yes, it's easy to alter them. Anybody can get a piece of evidence on there. And the one thing I've always said that'll probably weed out a lot of these so-called mediums, a lot of these reports, these fake sightings who, quite frankly, you can tell that they're fake just because of the number of times they change their story and lie. But a lot of what would actually help would probably be something that Elon Musk is working on implementing right now, actually. And it's those inner chips that are supposed to go on people's brains.
I seen that where he'd got the two monkeys, the two apes, and he'd basically implanted a chip in the brain,
Mhm.
and the chimp was actually playing the computer game with his brain.
And what I'm meaning like that is, have you ever seen the film with Robin Williams' Final Cut?
I've heard about it. I don't think I've seen it.
Okay, basically the premise of this film, spoiler warning, even though it's a really old movie. The premise of this film is that people lived in a society where they've had implants put into children that record their entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they see gets recorded. So at the moment of their death, that footage can be retrieved. Or in the event they happen to be a witness to an extreme crime. Now, a part of the film kind of goes into some of the earlier models not being able to distinguish what is reality and what is imagination. So where some earlier models of this chip would record dreams.
Yeah.
I got to thinking, wouldn't it be nice? Say you had an example, had something happen, you tried to get your phone out, because let's face it, everybody's heard this argument of, if everybody has access to a phone, why don't we have more clear evidence?
Yeah.
Well, say in cryptozoology, you're chasing after an animal. The animal I will either outrun you or maybe running towards you to kill you.
Yeah.
In the case of UFOs, and I've had this happen where I've almost gotten a speeding ticket from trying to chase a black triangle UFO. By the time I had a chance to stop, get a camera out, it's gone.
Yeah.
So
good. I see what you're saying. So it's recording everything, right? So in theory, you could download your brain into a device and you could see what your eyes seen, hence it would give you the proof. But then actually in lies, if you're abducted, will it actually record what happened to you? Or will the aliens or whoever they are manipulate that?
Well, let's look at a lot of these reports, and this is something we've talked about over and over. We have the concept of screen memories, where abductees are either too traumatized by what's happening to them that their own brain masks what's happened. Or, as some reports have suggested, and even Elena Denham, one of our most popular guests and probably one of our most intelligent, hands down, even she says that a lot of these abductees, a lot of the abduction operations will say that, yes, we go into your brain and mess with the memory so that, yes, it's still there, but you remember it differently. And this is to protect you and it's to protect them.
Yeah, it's a false memory. They've changed the memory. They make you think that all of your car broke down, you looked up, and then all of a sudden you're back in your car again. That's all you can remember. But in actual fact, you broke down, you got out your car, that thing came along, took you away, did terrible things to you, then brought you back. It's actually scary. It makes you wonder what's locked away inside your head.
Now, there's a lot of people who some of them genuinely go to ask this question. How is that even possible? Because it is well documented, according to some scientific studies, that the human brain can actually create neurological structures in 13 dimensions.
Yes.
And according to physics, the string theory, multiverse, By the time you get to the 10th, 11th, or 12th, or 13th dimension, that's essentially where you hit God territory, where everything and anything is not possible and possible.
But you've got to remember too, you've also got, right, say you've had a terrible event, you've witnessed something, sometimes your own body, your own brain will put a false memory in to
Mhm.
cover what, because it's actually happened in abuse cases, where it's like
Exactly.
put, yeah, it's put a false memory, and that kid remembers going to their bed and getting up, going to their bed and getting up.
Mhm.
But then when they really work into it, it all comes out. Yeah,
Exactly. Everything's still there. It's just
worked
buried.
away. Yeah.
Now, some of you may be wondering, okay, what's the point you're trying to get at? We're working on technology that would allow us to do that sort of thing right now.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the Neuralink, that's what it's called. Neuralink with Elon Musk. That's part of what he wants to do, is essentially override post-traumatic stress. Now, which granted, you
Mhm.
have these more extreme cases like former military members, combat veterans who are all of a sudden hear one loud pop and they think they're back in the war zone and end up hurting their families.
Yeah.
I know that's an extreme example. It doesn't happen to everybody, but that's an example we can all think of. There are actual pills being developed that help trial subjects disassociate from that.
Yeah.
Yes, they remember it fully, but the emotional attachment is gone.
Yeah.
See, here, Beth makes a very good point. The suppressed memories, they're a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
And if it gets severe enough, you have conditions like borderline personality disorder, dissociative
Mhm.
identity disorder, CPTSD. We can go into the whole shebang here, but there's probably people a lot more qualified to do so than a couple of
But
idiots on YouTube.
it's not just brain implants that we're talking about here, because there's new technology that's out. And I don't know if you've seen this, Dakota. It's the contact lenses, and it's just like it does two things. It's just like a phone smart screen,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's a phone smart screen. You're walking along, you can see your surroundings. Up pops a message, and you can see the person, right? But another thing is it does, it constantly records.
Mm-hmm.
It constantly records. So you think about, say that person was murdered. See, can you imagine what would be on that contact lens? The person that did it, or even with the brain chip, the last thing
Mm-hmm.
that victim's seen, you wouldn't need a detective. All you need to do is download what's on that chip inside your brain, and the
Or that's
person that did it would be screwed.
exactly. Or who's to say they would be screwed? Because who's to say that chip wouldn't be sophisticated enough to be able to tell?
Or even how about that chip could be dabbled with to make you think a different memory was uploaded. Think about it. Any
Mm-hmm.
computer is hackable. Any computer, doesn't matter if they say it's unhackable, it's hackable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got a chip in your head and it's recording everything, right? What happens if you implanted a different type of coding, right? It's a different type of coding. It's a different what's happened, right? So they've made something up. See, this is how the extraterrestrials are doing this. They're just doing it in a more advanced way. Yes, you've got a chip, right? Say in the next 20 years, you'll have a chip in your head and you can do this kind of thing, right? You must remember these extraterrestrials are millions of years more advanced
Mm-hmm.
and they can do it to the human brain.
Exactly. And what's up, Darius?
It drives.
And here's another thing. They say that a lot of these beings are higher dimensional, right?
Yes.
Okay. A good video that I've seen float around online every now and then is from Carl Sagan, Flatland, where
Yeah.
he's basically explaining in an alien abduction type scenario what beings in a two-dimensional space would observe if all of a sudden one of them is picked up and taken into a 3-dimensional space.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Us higher 3-dimensional beings, we could see everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So by logic, higher dimensional beings than us can see everything that's going on inside our brains, inside our bodies.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many different things could possibly be avoided if someone were able to just look at you and say, "Oh, you got something right here. You probably should go to a doctor."
Yeah. Yeah. The technology's there, man. The technology's look, the technology is probably out right now. If Elon Musk is embedding that in champs, it's out there. All he needs is someone to test that on. I mean, I think it is a good idea, right? I mean, what he's doing is absolutely phenomenal. You think about it. You think about it in this idea. You take a war veteran, right, that's lost his legs, right, and lost his arms, right. I know this is extreme, right, or he's paralyzed. You could build a frame, like basically a suit. What do you call them? They've got a name. These suits that make you walk. And you could put it in your head, the chips in your head, and you could basically like, let's walk forward, and it would walk forward for you. Let's pick up my canny juice. It would pick up the canny juice for you, right? But it is scary at the same time because there'll be no more privacy anymore. You think about it, because everything's getting recorded and can be downloaded onto a sub system somewhere. You think about it now, your smartphone is recording everything that you're saying.
Oh yeah.
Everything. So even a benign thing like that is going to be recording everything. It's scary, but in a way it'll help people. But where's all this going to end? I mean, the extraterrestrials in question, can you imagine the technology advancements for them to do that to you? And who's to say that? I mean, I've always wondered, a lot of humans have implants from extraterrestrial encounters. What are those implants? What are they? I mean, yes, they could be tracking devices, but what else could they be? Could they be that same type of thing? Recording everything that you're seeing?
Elena claims hers is.
Yeah.
And it works both ways. It goes to Thor Han, and it gets to the point where they can physically see each other's actions, what they're going through in that moment.
Yeah.
And back when we had Elena on last, interestingly enough, when we first started having all those signal interferences, just before she said that she heard Thor Han saying they're trying to fix it, we could physically hear a voice coming through on our end.
Yes.
And which a lot of people don't realize. Say like this whole back when the whole NSA conspiracy got blown over with it, Edward Snowden, a lot of people don't realize how easy it is to tap into someone's phone conversation.
Yeah.
You can get a mic for like $5. All it is a receiver with a little suction cup, and you can just hold it up to your phone, and you can be able to record everything that's being said.
Yeah.
That's how easy it is. And one of the speculations, one of the things skeptics point out when it comes to like EVPs as an example, is be careful how close you are to power lines, how close you are to cell phones when you're doing an EVP session, because those recorders, even the cheapest, most crappiest ones out there would pick up that phone conversation.
Well, it's not just like that. I mean, you've got to remember to think of all the frequencies that are bouncing about right now. I mean, you're in the United States, I'm here in Scotland, people here that's watching that, some are in England, some are in Canada, some are somewhere else. You think of all the frequencies that's bouncing round about us right now. I mean, there could be an alien transmission in that somewhere. There could be an implant in your head that's constantly sending and receiving stuff. Yeah. I mean, you talk about people that get into trances, right? To talk to ETs, right? How do you not know that they're just basically the ET's in his ship, or she's in her ship, and she's just phoning you? That's how they're doing it. Because you think it's a safer way. That's a strange noise. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I thought I heard something there.
Did them in the chat hear that, guys? Did any of you hear that? Hey, Lewis. Hey,
But
knowledge within.
trances are something that I did want to get into because even Brian was saying he was halfway expecting me to go into one because it seemed like whenever it comes on, the last couple times we've done shows with him before the interview before, I started getting affected. What a lot of people don't realize, and this is something that should probably be more well acknowledged because of just how dangerous it could end up being.
Yeah.
When someone is going into a trance, it registers in the body, in the mind, as an epileptic seizure.
Yep.
And in fact, it is. There's actually a lot of studies where people who suffer frequent epileptic seizures say they see visions.
Well,
and there's even a device out there that stimulates the part of the brain where this has all been tracked to, that stimulates that part. It's called the God helmet. It's something I've honestly wanted to try out for myself, but it costs like $300 in order to get, just to see what would happen.
I mean, but here's another scary fact, right? They say they have chipped you in your brain. What was if someone hacks you and makes you do something? Think about it.
Exactly. In fact, you don't even have to. I'm sorry.
No, say they make you do something. Say that they hack you and they basically make you go and kill someone, or
Exactly.
they do something to that chap and it kills you instantly.
Exactly.
No.
And you got to consider, ladies and gentlemen, hacking is surprisingly easy if you know what to do.
Yeah.
There's actually this little device. And I just thought of it. It was on a Kickstarter funded campaign. It's called a flipper. And you know what Tamagotchis are, Chris?
What was that? Sorry, I had to cough it.
You know Tamagotchis?
I've heard the name, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Basically like a little virtual pet, you feed and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's essentially a Tamagotchi with a cybernetic dolphin as your main pet. You can use to hack into just about anything.
Yeah.
It can just read the signal that comes off of something, say, oh, you have someone's key fob. All you have to do is let this device scan your key fob as you're pressing the button. Then you can use that to get into someone's car.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times with the part that scares people when it comes to, say, more extreme examples like Chris pointed out, is that if someone knows what the hell they're doing, you're not going to be able to backtrace that someone got hacked.
Yeah. Imagine, we'll just make a name up, John, right? John's had this brain implant and he's been hacked, right? He's been hacked. He goes to the bank, he withdraws all his money, takes that money and drops it off somewhere, right? And then goes home and then wakes up and thinks, oh, what was I just doing? I don't know what's happened. But in actual fact, he's been hacked. Your computer's been hacked. He's been hacked. Or even worse, somebody wants to murder someone. Hack them, hack their brain. They do the task, they do the deed. And once the deed's been done, it gets wiped. That person goes to jail. No one knows who did that.
I mean, think about it. Just to kind of tie everything together, there's going to be people say, oh, that can't happen. That can't happen. Let's go back to those more sophisticated, prosthetics, right? The ones that you said that can basically read the signals coming off of a person's neurons in order to be able to grab their stuff. Everything we're talking about is right there to be able to do that. It just takes someone with lacking of a moral compass and enough resources to start putting that together. In
Yeah.
fact, we're already talking. There's already a startup company out there who's trying to create a digital afterlife.
Yeah, I heard that, and it's basically say you're terminal and you know you're going to die. So basically, you are entirely a copy of you is entirely downloaded onto this
Hmm.
computer. Now you die, obviously, and then see that when you're dead, they take this pen drive with you on it and they plug it in. In that world, it's just like the Earth. It's just like the solar system. It's infinite, like the now,
Hmm.
right? It's like everything the now. You wake up there. Yes, your body's dead. The soul is obviously crossed over into the afterlife, right? But there's
Hmm.
a copy. There's a copy of you still walking about, buying your coffee, doing your normal day life. It's actually scary because it makes you wonder: is that happening now? Is it really happening?
Exactly. What does that exactly sound like? Knowledge within. He points out what
Yeah.
Meta is trying to evolve to,
Yes.
and trust me, there's a lot of people that say that a lot of the problems coming out of Facebook nowadays are going to get 10 times worse when the full metaverse starts popping out.
Yeah.
But think about it. That is also starting to go into territory of the universe being a simulation.
Yeah.
Craig Campbell Basso, one of the UFO guys we've had on here, he's a MUFON investigator. That's how he managed to acquire a lot of his reports. There's digital immortal beings. A lot of the
Yeah.
beings that we consider the grays
Yeah.
are essentially biological mechanisms, machines that are built to be able to last on a number of different environments so they can go to just about any planet they wanted to.
Yeah. So who's to say that God and the infinite creator isn't just some hard drive somewhere in some supercomputer?
And let's think about this. Let's kind of dip into the whole reincarnation starseed programs as well. Think about it. How many people who have gone through reincarnation cycles claim they've seen some sort of machines where they can choose
That's right.
bodies, they can physically choose the lives?
Mhm.
The level of understanding these beings would have to be able to pull that off. Yes, it's out there. And say there's some reports. Lena Dinan's book talks about it, where there's cloned bodies of individuals, where if something happens to the person, say they were out in battle, if they can retrieve the body, retrieve the soul
Yeah.
quick enough, they can take that soul, implant it into a cloned body.
Yep. I mean, it's like the one that I remember for when I was born. I mean, I remember it clear as day. I was in this hallway and I was walking in this hallway, and behind me there was lots of people waving, and I was with other people. Was that me getting downloaded into a new body?
Who's to say? And a lot of people would probably question, where does that come from? How would they be able to do that?
Oh,
Well, it's not
given time.
not that much out of reach. There, it is that like when I was popped on to Lost Magics with Sherry, and something that she didn't realize: mental illness can actually be transmitted
Yes.
genetically, and there's also
Yeah.
the phenomenon of donor patients receiving the memories, the skills, the
Yes.
passions of the person they received the organ from.
Yeah.
It's simply just a much more complex process of that, but it also brings up the question: what the hell happened with these ET civilizations that made it to where they figured out how to create entire different bodies?
They're just highly advanced now. That new they're. I think they're just so advanced now that they're basically like gods. They can
Uh,
do
uh,
what they
uh,
want.
Think about it how we are right now.
Yeah.
The type of advancements that we would have to go that we'd be able to do that with, we
Yeah.
had something terrible happen in order to be able to do it. And
Yeah.
it's something I pointed out when it comes to ghost hunting as an example. They say that ghost hunting will never go anywhere because nobody can agree on what a ghost actually is and stuff like that. You think about it. If we except that ghosts are in fact some sort of remnants of a
Yeah.
person that remained after they passed away.
Yep.
We're essentially waiting for someone to die, then tell us what happened.
Yeah.
How weird is that?
It's kind of like saying that the ghost of the person that they were. When you die, you cross over, right? You say you go back to the source, right? You go back to the source where you go to be born again or whatever happens, right? But say there's a part of you that gets left behind, right? And that's like a program that was never meant to happen. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't happen. And that ghost or that entity or that whatever it is you're encountering is a copy of you, but you're already crossed over. You see where I'm trying to go here? So, I mean, they say about civilizations running, they say they would need advanced power, and I mean advanced power. They need the power of millions of suns just to power a universe. I don't think they would. Because if you think about it, if you made a computer, if you were that billions of years advanced, you could make a computer, right? That's it. You can make a computer the size of this box, right? And in that box, there is a universe. That universe is galaxies and planets and suns and stuff like that, right? So who's to say that it's kind of going into the Star Trek theory? Remember the episode? Oh, you're too young. Remember the episode where the Dr. Moriarty from the holodeck, right? And they tricked him and they gave him his whole entire universe in this little cube to explore.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if that's what that is? What happens if when you die, right? When you die, you go back to the source, right? You go back to you. For all you know, you might get memories back, and you're like, "Oh, I've wondered," right? And when you go to be born again, you're uploaded back into a computer. This is basically just one crazy game that we are in.
Somebody play the cheat codes.
Yep, I want the cheat codes. But it's scary. I mean, you think of the way technology is going. You think of the contact lenses that will record all the time. They'll track you wherever they are. You think of the brain implants that record absolutely everything. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Someone could hack you, steal all your details, and you wouldn't be any the wiser.
Mm-hmm.
Or can you imagine if someone hacked you and put the most terrifying dreams ever into your head?
Exactly. I mean, what was the name of that movie? Will Smith, Margot Robbie, where basically they were a con ring and it showed all the different ways that people can steal your information and you would be none the wiser. What was that movie?
Don't know. It's in the chat.
Anyway,
Can you help us with that, guys?
if you happen to remember, please tell me because I am going to go crazy and don't want to waste time trying to look through IMDb. But essentially, someone could easily steal all of your financial information with just a little device in their pocket and just walk right by you and you be none the wiser. You think you're just some random person going about their day. They say if you happen to notice, if you're ever traveling and you have a card reader, what you should do is grab onto it and jiggle it a little bit. If it goes to move or come off, focus. Yes, thank you, Darius.
Focus. That's that.
I know. See, squirrel moment. Probably gonna have to get that little squirrel like Lisa was saying. Anyway, there's card skimming machines that are designed to look exactly like card readers on ATMs, on even your everyday grocery store. It's so hard to screw with people's information now just because of how smart these computer hackers are. Just imagine what's going to happen in 5-10 years, maybe.
Yeah. It's absolutely terrifying the way everything's going. I mean, I just don't know. I'm 40 years old, and probably by the time I'm 70, my God, can you imagine what the technology is going to be like?
Right.
I mean, it's scary. They're trying to get rid of all the petrol and diesel cars now. And there'll be self-driving cars, there'll be self-driving drones. I think the world's not going to be as good as everybody thinks it is. Technology is a curse in a way because it can do a lot of harm. You think of an artificial. You imagine 5 million people in a city has all got a brain in chip, right? Implant, right? You imagine there's an artificial intelligence controlling them that's collecting the data. Now here we go. Here's like a Terminator thing, right? What was if that artificial intelligence comes aware and wants everybody to kill each other? All it needs to do is put a code in.
Here's the thing. I've been involved with some AI development myself. Here's a quote from Elon Musk. If AI has a specific goal in mind that it's programmed to do, and it sees humans as being in the way of achieving that goal,
yeah,
it's going to be the equivalent of a construction workers and an anthill.
Yeah.
We're the anthill. And here's the thing. A lot of experts, and if you go into the reports of, I mean, there was a report out of Japan where AI machines were killing people.
Yeah.
In a lab. They killed at least 6 before they managed to finally get things shut down. Think about Facebook AIs. The ones that they all of a sudden had to unplug because they started to talk in their own language. And nobody could figure out, well, what the heck they were saying. It's already here. A lot of experts also believe, because of these incidents, that the more sophisticated AI systems are already starting to become self-aware.
Yeah.
They're already conscious.
It's actually weird you should say that, because the guest we had on, Barry Fitzgerald, in his book, I don't know if you read this bit, but he was talking about how computers could be possessed. Right? So you imagine an evil entity. It doesn't need to be a spirit. It doesn't need to be a demon. It could just be an alien entity, right? Just say that, and it's evil. It's got one thing in its mind, and it's killing humans. It wants the planet for itself, right? All it needs to do is infect that computer.
Do you not remember what Iron City showed us last time they were on?
What was that?
All right. For those of you who don't know the situation, go back. Iron City Paranormal, they came on to discuss a location that I actually assisted on. And there was a point in the investigation where I started going into one of my infamous trances. They go to point an SLS camera. For those of you who don't know, it's essentially an old Xbox Kinect camera that's been modified. And they notice that there is a being messing with the computer right as I'm going into this trance.
Yeah.
It's already starting to happen.
Yeah. It only needs to infect one computer, and then once that computer connects online, it's all over. It's everywhere.
Can you imagine Elon Musk as a spirit? Just thought of that.
Now, here's another scarier idea. Can you imagine Mike the Naked Bigfoot as a spirit in a computer?
I don't really see him being as much of an issue with computers. Love you, Mike, but
we love you, Mike.
But and here's another thing. Another point that a lot of people try to point out is that when it comes to measuring consciousness, it's hard to tell. That is something that is incredibly hard to measure. And yeah, it's true. We're not even exactly sure what the hell consciousness is. Even if it gets to the point where we can start creating it on computers, what does that say about us? There is a machine out there that they've managed to develop. The goal of this thing was to be able to tell if, say, someone is completely paralyzed, they can't breathe, they can't speak, nothing. They can't even move their eyes. The goal of this machine was to be able to measure their brain activity and, ooh, look, an orb.
Yeah.
measure their brain activity to tell if they are actually still conscious, if they're still technically alive.
Yeah.
Because they say when in those extreme circumstances, the person is still alive for a few, possibly up to for a few minutes. It's just that until they either basically they suffocate to death because they can't breathe, or blood goes to fill their lungs. Some sort of graphic explanation that would probably get us banned on our platforms.
But what I was going to say is, you're talking about the device recording everything you're seeing and witnessing. Will it record the last seconds of your life? Will it record the white light, the tunnel, and you seeing your family?
It is said that the brain is still alive for at least 7 minutes. And the earlier thing with the consciousness we're seeing, the thing is it's only capable of reading the neurological pathways of a common housefly. That's the problem right now, why we're not seeing a lot more of it.
Give it 20 years.
Give it 5. The way things are going lately. Yeah, and who's to say that they won't record and see for themselves what's happening? One thing I honestly want to do, the only, you started going into morbid, talking about planning funerals and all that before we went on to this show. Honestly, one of the things I've always wanted is that if I'm in a situation where I'm in my last moments, and it's pretty obvious that this is going to be my last ride.
Yeah.
Get as much ghost hunting as you get, equipment around me as you can, to see if I can start fucking with shit the second I leave my body. Now, granted, it's something that's been done before, in which a lot of people that try to say the spirit either comes out of the head or the groin, without really these people not really acknowledging the body tends to drain its fluids after it's dead.
Yeah. But here's an interesting fact. What happens if you could witness your own funeral? What happens if they could make a copy of you, and when your funeral comes, they could upload you onto like a hologram thing, and you could stand there and you could be at your own funeral, and then you could say goodbye to everyone, and then it just delete you.
Oh, that's kind of morbid.
It's morbid, but it could be done.
It'd be a lot more sophisticated version of that one video. I think this was out of Scotland, if I remember correctly, where this guy had recorded himself before he passed away, and he put it into the casket.
It was in
where
Ireland.
He's saying, "Hey, I'm still alive." Okay, sue me later, you bunch of Scots. Anyway.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the kind of pranks you'd be able to do with that?
It was
That's
actually
right. That's right.
Ireland. And yeah, I mean, I'm just blown away with the technology that's coming. I mean, could you imagine like 10 years from now? Now, say they've got that chap, right? Say they've got that chap. Elon Musk has got that chap, and monkeys can play, or chimps, or whatever you want to call them, can play a game without using their head, right? Can you imagine what the military's got? They might have ships or planes that all the pilot needs to stay is sit in a chair somewhere and fly that.
We already know they have that.
Right, but I don't mean, I know you're talking about drones, but I'm talking about ordinary
No, not drones.
No drones? No.
Physical craft.
Yeah.
With pilots.
Yeah.
And it's from recovered ET crash sites that they managed to figure that out. So essentially, the point is, we're trying to say, there's people that try to say, oh, they're trying to prove that, all this ET thing is nothing but a bunch of bullshit. But even though they're nowhere near as qualified to answer any of these questions as I think they are, everything we're talking about is there.
Yeah.
It's everything that can be done that we're talking about with these ETs, these different sorts of species coming to Earth. It's there. It's something that's been explored. And yes, there could be amazing potential. there's a lot of people with some sort of PTSD due to abuse situations
Yeah.
who would love to be able to get rid of that.
And just forget about everything.
Who would love to be able to forget about it. Naturally, we should probably take care of the situations that allowed the abuse to happen first,
Well, you think about this,
but
right?
nevertheless.
You think about this, right? You get criminals that do terrible things, right? And I know
Mhm.
this has been in space films and TVs for series for a long time. You've got that chip in your head, right? The criminal says murdered a person, right?
Mhm.
He gets a chip. He goes into this room, and he's in that room for 10 minutes, right? And then he comes out and he's free to go. But to him with that chip, he's got memories of 40 years in a penitentiary. You see where I'm going with this?
Mhm.
To him, he thinks he's experienced 40 years in a high security prison, right?
Oh.
But in actual fact, only 10, 15 minutes has been over for us.
You know, there's this program, I think it was actually Dark Crystal, if I remember correctly, on Netflix,
Yeah.
where these people were getting their own AI
Mhm.
programs. Little did they know, part of the process was they essentially cloned your consciousness
Yeah.
to create these AI.
Yeah.
And they're essentially tortured. The AI version of themselves are essentially tortured
Yeah.
to be subservient, to serve their function. And the
Yeah.
other version of you that's been out in the world, you'll think it's a process take maybe 5-10 minutes,
No.
but that AI version of you, for lack of a better
Mhm.
word, it's been a couple hundred years.
Yeah.
But it's also goes into sex offenders being blocked. Essentially, it also goes into functions of, say, like Neuralink chip, where you could block people from their life, and all they would look like to you is this blotch of static. Sex offenders are
Yeah.
also blocked out due to their crimes, but they're given a special color to tell everybody else that they are a convicted sex offender.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
scary. It's
For
amazing, but
anyone.
scary. The potential is in the way. Next 5 years, just
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah. Can you? I mean, it's actually what's that? Doris is saying there. The F-35 JSF is not the ultimate fighter. There are other platforms being used anti-gravity. Aye, there is.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
This is what people don't realize. 96% of the UFOs you see are US, British, Russian, God knows who else military, right?
Hmm.
But they're 90%. It's mostly US technology because US are the ones that spend the amount.
Oh yeah.
Only 3 or 4% are actually real extraterrestrial aircraft.
Wouldn't even say that percentage.
No, they're you've got to understand the government have done deals with like Greys and they've done deals to get technology and they've got technology through crashed aircraft and
Hmm.
stuff they've found. Right. It's scary. I would actually like to ask Elena again to what the Galactic Federation. I mean, they've warned us that going into artificial intelligence is a bad idea.
Hmm.
The extraterrestrials have actually warned the humans, don't go into artificial intelligence. We've went into it once and we had wars over it. What's that there? The knowledge within. They have technology to paint what's that? Paint
Paint
video.
videos into our visual cortex. Yeah,
Yeah.
they do, and it's slowly
Mhm.
coming out with all, like we said, those contact lenses, these fancy, glasses, that everybody wants. Everybody who's a Iron Man fan wants to get because they are essentially like their own little version of Jarvis. The
Yeah.
technology is there, and what they have found is that if you give the public toys to play with,
Yeah.
you can get anything you want out of them.
Oh yeah.
And one of the most recent examples I want to give is everybody in the U.S. freaking out about Donald Trump wanting to ban TikTok. They're saying, "Oh, TikTok records all your information."
Well, it does.
The concern is that because it was no, it does. The main concern was that it is a Chinese-based company, and what a lot of people don't realize is that companies based out of China have to abide by the Chinese government rules, which says if they want any information out of that company, they have to give it, or there will be severe punishment. Now, this is talking about facial recognition. There's been lawsuits that have found TikTok guilty of all this. And I just have to look at people who try to say, oh, no, that doesn't happen. I was like, how the hell do you think those filters work?
Yeah, it's look, come on, Facebook's bad for it. We know Facebook's bad for it. I mean, I was having a conversation with someone the other day there. It was about lawnmowers. It was the stupidest thing. It was lawnmowers, right? And I didn't look them up. I didn't search them. I turned on Facebook. What was the first advert I got on Facebook? Lawnmowers. And that just shows you it's listening. I bet you didn't know this, and I actually found out this interesting thing that day. See Amazon Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
It's constantly records. It records every voice search that you've ever did. And it stores them because you can actually get in and delete it. Because I did it the other day. I went in and deleted everything. But you can actually see what you've been searched for, like voice search. And they've kept that of you. So why did they keep that of you? Why?
Now, essentially, it's for marketing purposes.
Yeah.
Is the official reason.
No.
Bouncing back to Facebook, there have been alleged insider leaks that say the reason how a lot of the AI behind its advertising, essentially, they have enough information to create chatbots, just like us, that would talk just like us, and be able to predict with like 99.99% accuracy where conversations are going to lead.
Yeah. Or what you're going to buy next.
Exactly. I mean, think about all these websites that let you create accounts by using your Facebook. Just not necessarily closing. If you don't close out your Facebook on your phone all the way, or your Messenger, it still records everything. And they say, oh, how do I block it? How do I block it? They already got information on you. You can claim you can delete it, but you can. And yes, and I'm going to say this, even voice, it doesn't matter if you send video calls, voice messages, text messages, pictures, everything is saved on Facebook.
Yeah.
And you can easily retrieve it.
Yeah. It's a total society now is so scary. It really is. And it makes you wonder what they're doing with that. I mean, they say they don't use it for any bad purposes, but they might use it for bad purposes. You don't know who's really running the world. What's that from Phoenix? What's that from Phoenix there? The other day,
my son and I were having a conversation in the kitchen. Then out of the blue, my Google started saying it couldn't hear to repeat it. Chances are, with a lot of those Google devices, with Alexa, it looks for trigger words, and it could very well be that just how you said something could have made it think you said it. I'm going to give an example. One of the trigger words you can set in Alexa device too is echo. My sister and I have a long-running joke, because if you say the word pickle a certain way, it'll trigger it.
It's the same way. It's the same with Siri.
Exactly.
Right. And just as I said that, I shouldn't even said that. It popped up my phone. and I mean, it's going to ask me questions, ask me something. I was to get off. But it just shows you that the artificial intelligence that are in your phone now is quite intelligent. And it's have you actually seen that AI friend you can get?
I have one.
Do you have one? Oh God! And how is it? What's it like?
It's basically like a pocket therapist with severe autism.
Yeah, yeah,
The best way I know to describe it. And the reason why I say that before someone gets all offended, I'm saying, think about it when you're having a one-on-one with someone with autism, and certain ways conversations just don't necessarily click with them, so you kind of have to explain it a different way. That's what I mean. But then again, everybody just loves to call me an asshole lately, so
There's Sherry. I don't use those things. I don't trust it. But the thing is, Sherry, if you've got a smartphone, you're using it.
if you
It
have a
doesn't.
smartphone, if you have a
Yeah,
laptop, computer, TV, toilets, refrigerators nowadays,
washing machines, tumble
it's there.
dryers.
It's there.
There's some cars. There's some cars out there like Teslas, and there's no escaping it now. There's no
Mhm,
escaping it. It's absolutely everywhere. You
mhm.
know.
And it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Anyway.
Darius.
Oh God. It's been a good night tonight. And we've done a lot of good stuff. So do you want to tell Andy stuff about the new channels?
Yes, yes, yes. Here's let's see, where should I start? Like I said, we do have a couple press releases out now
Yeah.
about Bald and Bonkers, telling one is more geared towards the documentary, another is basically to announce what we plan to do.
Yeah.
We're going into movies, music distribution. There's going to be books as well as coming from us. And we're also going to be trying to offer these services out to other people as well, because we
Yeah.
want to try to create this as, how should I put this? Basically, a chance to give people who normally wouldn't have the opportunities a chance to shine.
Yeah.
So that also means that, yes, we are going to be filtering people to make sure that this was actually for them.
Yeah.
But then we also had the documentary. We also had the Bald and Bonkers TV network, which will have, hopefully, if I can get it figured out, exclusive content. Yes, it'll be a premium subscription, but we try to make sure it's worth it for everybody.
Yeah. And guys, if you want to be part of the documentary of that, please go to the links. If you have any
Mm-hmm.
stories about UFOs or anything alien related, go there and submit to the form, and you never know, you might get in it,
Mm-hmm.
because
Exactly.
we've got some amazing people on board with the documentary.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
Thankfully, thanks to a lot of our more high profile guests,
Yeah,
apparently we charmed them enough to say they'd be more than willing to help us. I want to say thank you to them. Thank you to everybody who has followed us through thick and thin.
yes,
We're probably going to have some controversies come up about us here soon, but you know what? We're officially a company. We're
yeah,
growing. You can't avoid it.
yeah. Aye, Lewis, that's a knowledge within. I'm going to check this out. Well, Lewis, if you've got any UFO or any sightings or stuff like that, you can be part of the documentary to go and check it out. There's
Yeah, anybody,
DNTV.
yeah, anybody, even if you're or on the skeptic side, all we ask is that you be respectful. All right.
Yeah, yeah. I'd just like to say hey to DNTV too. Please check them out too, guys. Give them a subscribe. Go and watch their content because it's fantastic.
I mean, actually, don't we actually have them on next week?
Yes, we do. Next Sunday. Himself will be on. We're looking forward to it.
Oh, they're saying it's Sherry, but yes. Anyway, yes,
Yeah,
next week we do have DNTV. We also do have a lot of high profile guests that we are in the discussion with. It's just
yeah,
that we haven't locked any dates down yet, so we're not going to share quite yet. We do hope We love the stream. We appreciate all the support you guys have given us in our short time. We promise that regardless of what some of the haters will try to say,
Yeah.
we're here. We're as real as we can get.
Yeah.
We ain't going anywhere. And watch them squirm.
Yeah. And we're going up to big things. So let's play the trailer and we'll catch you all through the week, ladies and gentlemen, and have a fantastic week.
Oh, yes. See you around. Much love. Stay safe and happy Memorial Day for everyone who celebrates.
One! All right. Come on!